Hi, everybody. I'm Jason Sampson with the Peter Powers team at Harvey Callis Real Estate, and this is Peter Powers.
Hello, wonderful people.
Peter, we did a podcast a couple of weeks ago in which we told our viewers that the market is slowly waking up, and I thought we'd check in with you here and see where we're at. And as you mentioned earlier, we had some activities. So where are we today?
Good question. That question should be preambled with some stats. So let me run some stats by you and by our audience. The average selling price for January came in at $1,026,703. That's a 1% decrease from 2023. As far as I'm concerned, the 1% doesn't mean anything. As the market picks up, and it is picking up, I'll get to those stats, that 1% will disappear, and I think we'll actually see a price increase. Another interesting stat. Last year, 70% of all sales on the MLS system were under 1.5 million, specifically between 600,000 and 1.5 million. For January of this year, 71.4% of all sales were below 1.5 million, which of course shows a lot more activity in that price range. Now last year, sales over 2 million accounted for 7% of all sales on the MLS system. This year, sales over 2 million accounted so far in January for only 4.6% of all sales on the MLS system. Now, to give you a much better frame of reference, in February of 2022, sales over 2 million accounted for 12% of all sales on the MLS system. So our sales over 2 million are dropping. Our sales under 1.5 are on the increase. And here's the most interesting stat of all. Sales in January are up 37% over last year. There's a lot more activity happening. This activity is happening because buyers are getting off the sidelines and entering the market. They're entering the real estate race because they do anticipate rates to come down, and we'll get to that. But they're also anticipating a hot market, and they are aware the inventory is coming down. Now, we ended last year, at the end of last year, end of 2023, our total months of inventory was 4.05 months of inventory. Now, to give everybody a frame of reference, 3 months of inventory is sort of the watermark. Underneath that, it becomes a seller's market. Above that, it's a buyer's market. And we were at 4.05 months of inventory. Now, at the end of January, entering into February, we're at 2.39 months of inventory. Very drastic change. It just flipped. And we talked about that actually in our last podcast, that Toronto only has two modes: slow, timid, or hot and crazy. And it flips on a dime. And that's what's happening. We've gone from a very slow, timid market with 4.05 months of inventory, a buyer's market, to 2.39 months of inventory and a seller's market. Now, where's the proof of that? Jason, you've got a good stat. You looked at the sales,
Right,
for all of February so far. So that's almost 2 weeks. And what did you come up with?
So in Etobicoke, from Eglinton south to the lake or lakeshore, since February, we've seen a total of 29 sales. Now, out of those 29, we've seen 12 of those sales that have gone over asking.
And that's roughly what percentage of sales?
Roughly 43%.
43% of all sales that happened so far in February, 43% were over asking.
This month, yes.
We're flipping to a seller's market. This shows that buyers are entering the market, re-entering the market, no longer standing in the sidelines, partially in anticipation of a hot spring market, because spring markets are usually quite energetic, and also in anticipation of rates coming down. The Bank of Canada announced a third straight hold on interest rates. There is an anticipation that rates will come down later in the year. And when the rates come down and we have a more confident economic forecast, the market will heat up again, and not just because it's spring. And when the market heats up, prices go up. So buyers are also entering the market right now in anticipation of prices going up later and trying to get a jump on that, buying before the prices go up. We have activity transactions up 37%. We have months of inventory down from 4.05 months of inventory to 2.39 months of inventory. In our section of Etobicoke, south of Eglinton to the Lakeshore, we have 43% of all transactions selling over asking. So the indication is that we are facing a hot spring. Now the question is, how long is that going to last? And with respect to that, I'll have the graph put up on the screen for you to look at while I discuss the pertinent parts of the map. Then that graph has some interesting things to tell. Bring this graph here. I'm going to talk about it. At the same time, we're going to put the graph up on the screen. If you look here, this was the beginning of 2023. Notice how the inventory dropped below 2 months. And at the beginning of the 2023, when the inventory dropped below 2 months, price came up. However, by June of 2023, the inventory started to go up until it was over 4 months of inventory. And what happened? The price didn't just stagnate, it started to go down. By the end of 2023, we had lost all the gains that we made at the beginning of the year, and we were back to the same average selling price as at the end of 2022. Look here at 2020. At the beginning of 2020, we had, again, less than 2 months of inventory. Price spiked. Inventory quickly went up. Price went down. Inventory came down for the rest of 2020 and continued to be down for all of 2021. And the price steadily climbed until we entered in 2022. And in 2022, for January, February, and March, we had less than 1 month of inventory on each of those months. And look what happened. The price peaked. And as the inventory came up, and at the same time, that's when the interest rates went up. So that also influenced things. But the inventory came up, and as the inventory came up, price stagnated. Now, why did I leave 2017 for last? I have a feeling what we're looking at for 2022 to 2024 is the same that we looked at from 2017 to the end of 2019. So we look at 2017, the inventory, again, at one point was, well, for January, February, or March, and April, it was below 2 months, and for 2 months, it was below 1 month of inventory. And the price jumped. Then the inventory started to go up, price stagnated. And the inventory stayed up. And as the inventory stayed up, price stagnated until inventory started to go down and the price went up. Let me put this away. What's my conclusion?
Classic case. I've said it before, and you've said it as well. Supply and demand.
Never mess with the law of supply and demand. We've always got a lot of demand in Toronto. For Canada, we've got 500,000 immigrants coming in. We've got 800,000 migrant workers and foreign students, daily housing. We've got a positive birth rate. We've got an increasing population, roughly increasing at just over 20,000 people annually in Toronto. And we do not have enough new homes being built. And although condos are kind of stagnant now, they will be absorbed, and we don't have enough new condos coming online. So supply is not going to keep up. And demand is constant. It slowed down for a while because we had scary economic forecasts. We had high interest rates. But again, economic forecasts are becoming more confident. Interest rates are forecasted to go down, and the buyers can't wait any longer. The market's heating up. How long it will stay hot? As you saw by the graph, sometimes by April or by June, the inventory goes up and the price starts to trend down or become timid and not go up anymore. But we do know that for now, we do see a strong spring, and we'll revisit this at the end of spring market and make our predictions for the summer market and the rest of the year.
Thank you very much, Peter, for informing our audience. Where can everybody reach out if they have any questions related to real estate?
They can text us, you can email us, you can reach out to us from any one of our social media sites, and we welcome the old school telephone. Love to hear your voice and speak to you, and we're ready to help you to experience
The power of sold.